We've got to talk about Robin Williams. So you're in this film with actual Robin Williams. I mean, hello. And I know you've met and now know some of your childhood heroes as friends. Double hello. But Robin Williams, in between takes, says, "Do you mind if I have a word with you?" He takes you to one side and says what to you?
He was watching me do a scene with Ben Stiller improvising, and he's like, "You could do drama as well as comedy." I was like, oh my God, coming from him, the legend. And then we just chatted about life. It felt like about 2 hours, and it's in the middle of the night because we do night shoots because I guess the movie's called Night at the museum. And it's freezing cold and we've got blankets around us, and I'm looking in his face. He's like the kindest, most gorgeous man, and then he's giving me some compliments, and it was such a beautiful, beautiful experience that I got to have that interaction with him that night.
He seemed to be such a gentle, genuine, deep, and ultimately troubled soul. But he just, those eyes.
Just like it. Yeah, and I'm getting emotional like thinking about it. But just the warmth that would come off that guy. It's incredible.
And the huge sort of extra capacity he had, because he was so talented, and he also he did what he, I know if you watch documentary on him, he really worked at it, but he was so good at it in the end. He had all this extra capacity for love around a set where people may have been worried about their lines or, God, this is taking too long, but he had all this extra capacity because he was so good at what he did and he'd been doing it for so long. He could see things that other people couldn't see, not because they didn't want to, just because they didn't have the available panorama to see them. They were too focused on what they were up to, but he had this other thing going on.
He was just an absolute legend, and I just feel very, very lucky that I got to have that experience.
And there's loads of stories like that. This is all in the same book, Rebel Rising,
Brad
a
Pitt
memoir.
Stories.
Rebel Wilson. What about this? So working with Robin, right, Williams, hello, right, going on a holiday with Barbara Streisand.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to reread that like 3 times. How did that happen?
Oh, random thing. Like a friend invited me to the villa in the south of France, and they're like, "Oh, and Barbara's coming." I'm like, "What, Barbara Streisand?" But like my grandma listened to her CDs like nonstop.
Yep.
And I was like, "Oh my gosh." And then she was a real legend. So we're there swimming in the pool together, and she's telling me,
Barbara Streisand.
Yeah, and she's telling me stories about how she directed Yentl, being a woman all those years ago. Like before that, I mean, now there's more female directors, but back then, I mean, just like what a champion she had to be to do that. And she was just like giving great advice. She taught me how to play this game called Rummy Cub, not knowing that I was kind of secretly really good at maths. And so, played her and won like first time. She's like, hang on,
did
how
you think
did you
about
do
not
that?
winning?
Yeah, but then my competitive nature.
Sorry, not even for Babs. Not even for the Stries.
But that was, I mean, like sometimes I have to pinch myself. I'm like, what is my life? Like the night I asked out Justin Bieber. I'm like, what? Which I wasn't, it was more of a joke, but I did ask him out and he said yes. We never went out. Don't worry. But like, it's like, or some things, or where you get to meet Kobe Bryant or have these.
What about Brad at the Oscars?
Oh my God.
Tell us about that. Come on.
Brad Pitt literally wins his Oscar for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, gets off stage, feels a little bit overwhelmed because normally they have to go into like a press room and answer questions. Doesn't feel like doing that. So it feels like having a chat with me, who's there because I have to get dressed into a cat for a little bit, a little joke we were doing
with James Corden
about our hit movie Cats, and so we had to go backstage, and then I just kind of intersect with Brad, and he kind of holds on to me and just wants to just chill for a bit. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then Timothy Chalamet comes up and says, "Oh, thank you for letting me have a shower at your house." Because the second house, he came and he needed a shower one day before going to the airport. And somehow his assistant knew my assistant, and he came over for, it ended up he went in the hot tub as well.
Yeah. Which doesn't make it to the book, because you say there's another story there. This is the story.
Yeah, I wasn't home. My sister lets him in. He's like, they go in the hot tub together. I'm like,
Willy
what?
Wonka in the hot tub.
I know, like the hottest young actor there. And
Even
then,
hotter.
then has a shower, spends a few hours and then goes. And then, so he comes up and I'm chatting to Brad Pitt and he's like, thank you for the shower. And then I just seem like the coolest person. And as somebody who really knows what it's like to feel like a loser, and if you read the book, like, when I'm 12, 13, starting high school, I literally have no friends. I am the biggest loser. And then to just have these surreal moments that at the Oscars, and then Brad escorts me like a real Southern gentleman to my dressing room to get transformed into a cat.
Wow! And these stories just keep on coming. That's why Revelations has got to happen. Is it a 2-book deal? You got a 2-book deal?
No.
Revelations. By the way, you know where HarperCollins is? It's on the 14th floor here.
Is it?
Yeah. So
same building.
Just go sign the deal.
Go and do another deal. No, I think. This is it. This is my tell-all memoir.
No,
I don't know.
Come
I don't
on.
know what more I could tell you.
All you have to do is go back through it again, right? And just tell the other bits of the stories that you've already started.
I'm definitely not short of stories.
I
think my life
stories.
has been very eventful.
Please, miss, I have a question for you.
Yes.
From the back of the class.
Okay.
I loved it all, right? I love the story when you're watching the tennis match and you suddenly feel yourself turning into a hot mess and you think, what is happening to me?
Well, it was a very hot day. And then,
but it just got hotter.
And I was at Wimbledon and I was just like, I was watching this female tennis player and then suddenly I started like blushing. I was like feeling things and I was like, what is happening? And I'd met this tennis player before, just as, I'm a fan of tennis. I love tennis. And then I started feeling these feelings. And I thought at the time, I was on this kind of little experiment called the Year of Love where I was dating lots of people and I'd been on dates with about 50 different dudes because as part of the experiment, I was like, if anybody asks me out that year, I'm going to just say yes. I'm going to give it a chance. What do I have to lose? I'm very, very single. So let me just try it and, get more experience dating. And then I saw this woman and I was like, yeah. And then that kind of led to what I would describe as a situationship, what the young people call it.
Situationship.
With a professional tennis player. And it didn't lead to a proper relationship because she had to focus on her tennis. But what it did is kind of it opened up my heart and my sexuality, I guess you'd say, to being into women. And who would have thought going to Wimbledon and my friends there.
Anyone for tennis?
Yeah, and like she just wanted to go and drink Pimm's and eat the strawberries. And I'm like, no, I have to stay and watch this match and see what happens. It's surprising what life can throw you. It was a real curveball, that one.
And you had no idea because people have said, well, you must have known and this explains a lot, blah, 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 blah.
I did think, I came from a very conservative Christian family and I did kind of think, maybe I'm not 100% straight, but I really was into guys, and so I guess went with that and never quite explored the other options.
Had you not gone to Wimbledon, I wonder how, because it would definitely have revealed itself to you one way or another.
Yeah, probably.
I wonder when. I wonder how it meant to be. How close were you not going to Wimbledon? Were you? Because you like playing tennis as well, don't you?
I love it. And so I was
That day.
Sometimes the universe just brings things to you. And I've had that a couple times in my life, like when I had the malaria-induced hallucination.
It's the whole South Africa thing. We haven't even gone there, have we?
I know. Yeah. So I did a gap year in South Africa, got malaria, almost died. It was real bad, and had this hallucination that I was an actress and that I was really, really good and that I win an Academy Award. But like just the odds of things happening, like I was in a major crime squad investigation. I was a witness in a court case, which led to me going to South Africa.
And the gun chases and
I was caught in shootouts. Luckily, I was never shot. Kidnapped for 24 hours. So it's just my life. At least the one thing is I'm so proud of the book because I can just write down every single thing that's happened to me.
I'm exhausted. You had to live this life. I read the book yesterday and I'm talking to you today. I'm going to have to go and lie down for the rest of the day. It's such a great story. It's inspiring for so many different reasons. It starts with wanting to be a mum and it ends with having become a mum.
I know. So that is the really happy ending to me. And my daughter is now a year and a half old, and she's just the most precious little girl. And it just, and I was one of those people, I had to go through fertility treatments, like 5 mini surgeries to get my daughter. And I'm just like, I don't know, it's love in a whole new way.
Yeah, and it's the 3 R's, isn't it?
Yeah, so I've got Ramona, my fiance, and little baby Royce. So yeah, it's
and Rebel
incredible.
Once and for all now.
What?
Once and for all, because the whole thing about the court case was the fact you weren't really called Rebel. And I am called Rebel.
Yeah. So my experience with the high-profile defamation court case in Australia was where I had to go to court and prove my whole life story, which is probably why I so easily had all the photos and stuff to put into the book.
They did you another favour.
Yeah. And tabloids kind of said that my story wasn't my story.
Yeah.
And so I had to go to court and prove. And obviously there's 10,000 witnesses who would witness my life at various points. And so we all came in and all the witnesses came in and said, yes, this did happen. Yes. And here's the photo of me in the malaria, in the hospital in South Africa. And here's this and that.
By the way, why would you make all that up?
I don't know. And I even insinuated that I'd made up my father's death, which was absolutely horrible.
I'm so glad you brought up your dad's passing, because the letter you write to your dad after he's passed is so beautiful.
Oh,
so beautiful.
And if you do listen to the audiobook version, you can tell that that kind of it just when I read that, I can't help but get really, really emotional, because I don't know why I photographed the letter, but I did, because I was going to leave it. I left it with his body, and I just. Writing, somehow it's cathartic and it can help you process your emotions. And so to anyone out there dealing with stuff, I'd really recommend it to write it. And I wrote a letter to my dad of all the things that I wish that I had said, and that was maybe too scared to say, or didn't know that obviously he passed away just very suddenly and had a heart attack. And so I wrote it, and weirdly, I photographed it so that, not knowing obviously that many years later I could write a book and utilize it, but I just wanted to share it because, life is short. And do
you think that the number one thing you shared with your dad, forgive me, this is just my observation, it could be completely off the mark, is it the Rebel?
Probably, yeah.
Strength from mum, rebel from dad? Maybe, or is that too convenient?
My mum is just like an angel of a woman. And my dad, I kind of say, has a lot of dark side in his side of the family. But that's maybe, if you see me doing an edgy joke or something a bit outrageous, it's probably from his side. Yeah. Yeah, which I called the convict side.
We are
family.
Out of time, but we're not out of conversation.
Can I just say thank you so much for reading it and engaging with this. And to me, even if this book just reaches 10 people, and people find motivation and things to change parts of their life, because I've obviously had to change.
Okay, well, coming in hot, we've got a minute, Vassos. Please tell the story of yesterday.
So yesterday, I just reached the section where you write a letter to your body. And literally within a minute of me reading that page, I get a phone call from a really good friend of mine, and I'm one of her confidants. And she's always had issues with body dysmorphia, and she's on that first hot day of the year, and she's panicking. And I said, look, things will, you will find the bridge off this at some. And I said, can I just read you something that I've literally just wrote? Oh. And I read it to her. I read what you write. You said, "Okay, I love my body, but it's time for a change." And she said, that really helped her. That really helped. So there's all the top showbiz stories as well, but there's real help too.
Oh, thank you for saying that, because that really is why I and I know I'm getting emotional, but that's why I wrote it, because I know there's so many people that relate to that kind of stuff, and I know what it's like to be invisible, be visible, to be concerned about your weight, to gain weight, to lose weight, to be feeling all sorts of things with your body, and so I write about it in quite a lot of detail in the book to try to help people feel them less alone.
Yeah, well, thank you
Yeah.
on her behalf.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Oh,
Oh my
jeez.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Your hair gets the first couple of pages. How's it doing at the moment?
My,
Your hair.
my hair. Oh, yeah,
You
it's
kick
good.
off with 2 pages about your hair.
Yeah, but I do have a few clip-ins. Yeah.
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 You're allowed to have clippings. Oh my goodness. It's great to meet you. It's great to meet you.
Oh, thank you guys for having me on, and I hope everybody enjoys the book. And if you're not a reader, you can get the audiobook and listen to it. But yeah,
Rebel
awesome.
Rising, it's out now. Stand by for Rebel Rising 2 Revelations. I'm gonna
How are we
keep
both
hitting that.
tearing up? Oh
Yeah,
my god!
it's important, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we're speaking to
Yeah,
each
I
other from
know.
here, and we're hearing each other down here.
Yeah.
All right, what about this? Rebel stars as Sarah in the new film, The Almond and the Seahorse. You got 3 coming out, because that's the way you roll nowadays.
Oh yeah, it's just The Almond and the Seahorse, which is actually like a very serious drama
Yep.
with French actress Charlotte Gainsbourg, and so that's in cinema. We just had the premiere last night in Leicester Square,
Nice.
which
Are you
went
fresh from a
awesome.
premiere?
Yeah. That's I wouldn't say fresh. That's a late one.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
it's
Quite a
just-
late one.
Yeah, like,
Bit pesky there, a little bit
yeah,
pesky.
but I'm also what we call a Cinderella, which means I'm always home by midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Nothing
being a
good
mum,
happens after midnight.
Yeah, being a mum, that's still late. And then, oh gosh, I've shot an action movie that'll be out later this year called
Yeah.
Bride Hard, with my friend Anna from Pitch Perfect, and Divine Joy Randolph, who just won the Oscar. And then I've just directed my first movie called The Deb, which is like it's a gorgeous musical.
All right. I know that Nicole was very important instrumentally. We've got 20 seconds left.
Okay.
Just tell us about Nicole.
So Nicole gave me a scholarship when I was 22, turning 23.
Yeah.
And she gave me at the time $12,000 to go anywhere in the world to help my acting career.
And you've returned that now because you did the same. And I've got to tell you, the person that you sponsored is Jane's mate, and she's become a really successful person. And that's the end of the story. And happy birthday, Jane.
Yay!
And that was Rebel Wilson.
Virgin Radio.